Hello, everyone, for OneWrestling.com, face to face at the Apter Chat. This is Bill Apter, and today's a sad face to face. I just found out a few minutes ago from my dear friend Andrew Anderson, that one of the veteran wrestlers, known to everyone and who loved him as Cousin Luke, passed away earlier today, I believe, or was it last night, Drew?
I believe it was last night. I believe it was last night, the night of the 28th.
So that would be September 28th.
Yeah, I think it was last night. I got a phone call and I got an email that he passed away. I think he might have passed away he was in a Morristown nursing home for quite a while. I don't know if he was. I know he was hospitalized. I really didn't get all the details, but Luke was a great guy.
Yeah,
He
I
helped.
understand he had an illness. He was ill for a while, and since we're just doing this off the cuff, you're at a convention
Hmm.
in Maryland. How old do you think Luke was approximately?
He's in his 60s, mid 60s.
Okay. Now I remember that back in the day when I was in the magazines in the early '70s, his brother Dale Lewis,
Dale
cousin
Lewis.
Luke, of course, was Gene Lewis. Dale Lewis was a big star on the Pacific Northwest and out
Yep.
in the West Coast. And cousin Luke, Gene, was making it okay as Gene Lewis, but once he got that part as cousin Luke, that really changed
Yeah,
everything, didn't it?
he wrestled quite a bit as Gene Lewis, Dale Lewis's his brother.
Yeah.
Dale was a shooter in the business, one of the legit tough guys. But Gene wrestled for World Class Championship Wrestling as one of the Mongols.
Yeah. Oh,
Skandar
right, right.
Akbar.
I forgot
Yep.
about that. Right.
Skandar Akbar managed him back then, and um, he
He
came
also,
back for a while in the early '80s with Mark Lewin and Kevin Sullivan,
yes.
as part of the original Army of Darkness that in Florida Championship Wrestling
Yeah.
for the grant for Eddie Graham and
Yeah.
with
But
Dusty, and
his big
then he got his
break,
big break with WWE.
yeah, with big break as
Go
part of
ahead.
that whole group with Hillbilly Jim, and that really, and he loved that role, didn't he? Okay, we had a little technical glitch there, but we're back. So how did you first meet him?
I met him. I was on the Indies at the time. I was training up in Lake Hiawatha at East Coast Pro Wrestling. Mr. Italy Caruso got me booked on a bunch of shows with uh, Jimmy Superfly Snooker trained me with Gino Caruso and the Metal Maniac, and I would go on tour, mini tours with Jeff and Cuz and a lot of younger indie guys at the time breaking in the business, like
Yeah.
Judas Young, who was also very close with Cousin Luke.
Okay, so now he also trained wrestlers, didn't he?
Yeah, Gene trained quite a few guys. He would bring a lot of guys up to various schools and train them. He was a great guy, man. I had nothing bad to say about the Cuz.
What is, if you could tell us, what is the one thing you learned from him that you took and put into your bag of wrestling tricks?
Always, when a big man is coming at you, always make sure you stand out of the turnbuckle a little bit when they hit you with the big running splash. Because I used to sit tight in that corner, and I used to get hit with a splash by Bundy or One Man Gang, and they used to
Yeah,
run into me and crush Cuz me. Took care of all the boys. He loved the
yeah,
business
yeah,
like no other. I used to remember bringing him up to the Hall of Fame shows up in Amsterdam, New York, with his wheelchair up, and
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it was heartbreaking. He was a great
Last
guy.
last question. If they assigned you to write a book about the life and career of Cousin Luke, what would you title it?
He loved life and he
Okay,
loved the business.
all right. Drew Anderson, thank you so very much for sharing your thoughts on Cousin Luke, gone but definitely not
Not
forgotten.
forgotten. No, no.